All right, let's do this, everyone. So today we're going to talk about the lead management protocol. This is so important because every lead that comes through your system needs to be treated equally. And the more you nurture those leads, the more you are attentive to those leads, the better they're going to do. So I want to start with an example for everybody that we all can relate to. Okay, so I want to take our business owner hats off and put on our consumer hats because we are all consumers at the end of the day. We all buy products, services, etc. And so I want you to think from the perspective of a consumer for just one moment for this example. All right, so we all go to the doctors. So when you go on Google to search for a doctor and you call, and the first doctor's office doesn't answer, what do? You call the second one, then you go to the next one on the list, you call them. Okay, great, they answer. Oh, but they don't have any appointments for 1 month out. What do? You either schedule it for a month out or you say, okay, I'll call you back. Boom. What do? You go to the next person, you call them, they answer, they have an appointment, you book with them most likely, right? Can anyone resonate to this? Has anyone called businesses before? Maybe the first one didn't answer or didn't have availability. You usually go with the first person who answers and the first person who has availability and can answer your questions, right? This is an example how every day, us as consumers, how we make decisions and how we actually go from being a lead to a customer or a patient in a doctor's office. But this is occurring each and every day for your company. Okay. And how we handle those leads from just the answer rates to the actual flow of the phone call to getting them to, book an appointment and having that friendly personality that represents your company. All of these things are so important. And that's why I wanted to really focus today on this lead management protocol, because if you never miss a lead, you won't miss, you'll miss less sales. And I will tell you this, of all the campaigns I've ever ran, and there's a lot of them, all of it always comes back to one thing. Which campaigns receive the highest ROI are always those whose company has this lead management and lead intake process dialed in. Okay, they're answering the phones, they're calling back, they're nurturing. And so that's why I want to talk about this in today's marketing mentorship. So, lead management at its core, okay, is when you have a structured system for doing a couple of key items. Capturing leads for one, okay, which we're going to dive into that deeper. Responding to leads that you capture quickly, nurturing them until they buy. That's a huge one. I see a lot of fall off in nurturing. I see a lot of people who call once and the person doesn't answer and they never call again. Huge missed opportunity. And then the last one is ensuring that no leads fall through the cracks. We know that 78%, these are some of the stats. There's many stats out there that you can look up, by the way, but 78% of homeowners are going to choose the first company and the first contractor who responds. Okay, so when they're going down that list, they haven't made a decision of who they're going to do business with. They're looking for the first person who's going to answer. Okay, so that's why it's so important that we have that answer rate high. Okay, the next stat that we know, it's very clear. If you look it up, you'll see all sorts of statistics on it. Okay, and I go by statistics and data, is that responding within the first minute, 5 minutes, there is actually a 9 times higher chance of booking the appointment. Okay, the longer that lead goes from missed call or sitting in the system, the less chance you have of actually making that connection and actually getting them to book the appointment. And so if you know that you have that 5 minute window, why are we not calling them within 5 minutes? Why is it not a priority for us as a company to make sure we have the right team, the right system, the right process in place to call them within 5 minutes? Every missed call is wasted marketing dollars and it's missed opportunities. You're investing into your brand. You're investing into your advertising. Even if you're not running any ads, right? But if you are, right? But if you're not, even just you're spending all this time, energy, and money to build your business, right? Build your brand. You have the shirts, the hats, the trucks, right? You're doing all that. Why? So people notice you, so people contact you, and just to miss their call? Do you think they would try a little more to say more on the call to help, convert the person to at least booking the free inspection? Okay, and I'll give you one more example. I've had somebody, and this is the difference, okay? I had a client, They were the owners, but they were their sales guys, and they were answering the phone still for their company at this point. They were a little bit smaller at the time. But what I liked, and the only reason I didn't complain about them answering the phone is one, they always answered the phone. But two, they knew how to navigate the conversation. And what do I mean by that? Okay. A person called in and they were actually calling in for a competitor. They were calling in for a competitor. And I've heard general people answering phones that say, "Oh, no, we're not ABC roofing, we're lightning roofing. Sorry." Boom, hang up. Does anyone see the problem with that? Huge missed opportunity where my guy who was answering the phone is the owner because owners know how to do this, but sometimes call handlers don't, which is why this is so important to make sure they're trained and there's accountability and there's, incentives behind what they're doing is the owner said, "Hey, we're actually so and so roofing, but are you having trouble with your roof? That's something we could help you with. Oh, you got a quote. Well, would you like to get another quote so you can see the differences?" They actually got that appointment and I have the recording of it. That's how I know, as I heard the whole conversation. And that is the difference between someone who knows how to handle the calls versus someone who just either isn't trained, doesn't have the know-how, on how to handle calls appropriately. And these situations happen all the time. I like to put an incentive, right? You give your sales team a percent, right? They get commissions off closing deals. Well, why not incentivize someone to book more appointments? And so there's different things you can do. Yes, it's a part of their role, but if you know that the most appointments they've booked in a week is 20, and you say, "Hey, if you get, you know what, if you get 30 this week, we're gonna give you, if you get 30, we're gonna give you an incentive." And that incentive could be different, but you see how it pushed them and the company benefits from this. The next one is the lead entry, like actually getting leads into the CRM. It's really, really beneficial when that system is automated, meaning a lead comes in, somebody calls the business, and it goes right into the CRM. And the reason this is so important is because that time that it takes for someone, if someone was to manually do it, one, it's not the best use of their time, but two, is that now takes more time and allows more things to get missed. There could be if something falls through the cracks. And so we want to avoid that by having lead entry go right into the CRM automatically so that different people within the organization could immediately reach out, immediately get them on the calendar and go into the next point, which is having that immediate follow-up. Having that immediate follow-up and that structured follow-up where, they're emailed, they're called, they're texted immediately. So we have the best chance of reaching out to them. How many leads do you think you have sitting in your CRM right now, or people you've pitched but didn't close sitting in the CRM that have not been touched base with in the last 30 days? Feel free if anyone wants to answer that too, but I mean, how many leads do you think you have sitting in the CRM right now that you have not touched base within the last 30 days, last 60 days, last 90 days? David says 10. Okay. Maybe 10 leads, maybe a lot more for others, just depending on how big your CRM is, right? How many years you've been in business. Okay, 60. Okay. So what if you reached out? What would it look like? How could it be different for your sales process in your organization if you actually nurtured those leads and you put them into a sequence where you were reaching out consistently for both in the short term and long term? Because there's people I can guarantee that you talked to 6 months ago, 12 months ago that want to reconnect. It's just not their top priority or top of mind. There is no reason why you should not follow up until they say that they are not interested, at which point, obviously, you don't harass people. You can move them to not interested at that point. But until you get the no or not interested, it is your job and duty as a company to continue to nurture and follow up. And follow up, by the way, guys, it's not just like, "Do you want to book your inspection? Do you want to book your inspection? Do you want to book your," if every message is, "Do you want to book your inspection?" That's going to be highly annoying. It needs to have some sort of context to it to build rapport. It could be things like happy holidays. It could be things, hey, we're running a special right now. It could be, "Hey, check out this cool project we did in for our city for Bob. Look at how we transformed Bob's roof," right? Like showing other use cases. There's other things you can do to continue to build and show that you are a reliable professional company. You want to track a couple things weekly. And if it's not you, it's the manager, it's the sales manager, it's somebody on the team who's tracking it. But you want to make sure, what percent of my calls are answered live? Like what percent of my calls are answered? Okay, and we could see this like when we're doing marketing together. You guys know we have your call tracking. We could tell you how many calls you missed from just the call tracking numbers, not including the ones that go to the office. And if you see this number and this percent and it's high, you know, okay, this is something we need to focus on and fix. And when you do, the results will be more sales, more booked appointments. Okay, you could also track the average lead response time. How quickly are you getting to those leads? Is it within the 5 minute range? Does it take you a whole day to get back to somebody? And what you could do immediately that everyone could take away from this call is go ahead and do the role play. Do that role play. Try to do it weekly if you can, but incorporate it as something regular you can do to improve, how they're answering the phones and how they're able to think on their feet and just answer in a way that you would answer as the owner. Making sure the CRM is just really clear, that someone's in there holding people accountable to the leads that are in there, making sure things aren't slipping through the cracks. It's very natural that happens when everyone's so busy and they don't take the time to look. You want to make sure you have an automated nurture sequence. So this is something you could build out over time, but you should absolutely be having automatic nurture sequences, that's text and emails that go out to leads, that go out to previous clients, and newsletters that can go out. You should have this all documented, obviously, making sure your sales manager can come in, and just having the weekly KPI and scorecards, I think, are important for accountability as well. All right. So just in closing here, if you miss a call, every missed call results in a missed roof. My goal is to make sure that you are running things where you don't miss calls, you don't miss roofs, you don't miss revenue, and just really having you guys focus on consistency in the lead management process so that you can consistently grow your revenue. Because if you guys grow, we grow, we're all happy, we grow together. And so this lead management is a huge part, and the ball is in your court to make sure you have this dialed in. And we're here to support you, educate you, and help you with this process so that you can continue to get better each and every day and continue to coach the team. All right, have a good one, everyone.